And for more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com, youtube.com/channelsweb. They have videos of our shows. And let's take you to some of the images that you sent in, beginning with this one from Eket in Akwa Ibom State, showing the road taken over by flood. Our eyewitness says that this road has been like this for more than 20 years. He laments the pains residents go through to access it. He wants the state government to come to their aid. Well, still on infrastructure, the next image is from Kachabakeko Road in Niger State. It shows the road cut into two. According to our eyewitness, the collapse swallowed a heavy downpour. He wants the state government to do something urgent. Finally, is the effort by these residents of Yagba East area of Kogi State. It's a self-help solution, according to our eyewitness, to control the erosion they say is taking over their community. He, however, is appealing to the state government to help them with a more lasting solution. Thank you for sending these images. Please keep more coming, and also remember to indicate where your images and videos are coming from. Nigerian musician Timi Dakolo has been speaking on the visit of armed security officials to his home to deliver a letter of invitation. During a press briefing in Lagos today, he alleged that the motive behind the visit was to abduct either him or his wife. Mr. Dakolo, who expressed worry over the safety of himself and his family, wondered why no visible effort has been made by the police to invite the alleged rapist of his wife, Pastor Biodun Fatoyibo.
On the 27th of June, my wife, through her legal representative, filed a petition in the police station about Mr. Biodun Fatoyibo of Commonwealth Assembly for raping a minor. The petition was filed at the office of the Assistant General of Police, Alagbon Ikoyi. We had 4 meetings, over 6 hours on the police station, the day before and the day after. The IIG himself personally assigned the file and immediately asked for an expedition action to investigate the case. We decided not to publicize the fact that we had our case filed, as we believe the law would follow through to be duly, as we have asked the police that this matter be duly investigated. I did not expect that our residential address, where my children live, will be released to the public. And since then, I have noticed increased alarm, how my life, my wife's life, and the lives of our children have been put to risk by strange faces. I would like to share a few highlights, especially about the attempt yesterday to abduct my wife, or probably me if I was downstairs. Because the people that came to our house, nobody comes to drop letter with guns. Nobody comes to drop letter with the tinted glasses, men with guns, trailing a car. You not just come to drop letter. If my wife has insisted at this, first of all, someone said, when they came into the compound, followed my wife into the compound, someone said, my Oga wants to see you in the bus. She said, no, I don't know your Oga, who are you?
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Police Force, they've confirmed that it invited Busola and her husband, Timi Dakolo, as part of the ongoing investigation of allegations of rape by Mrs. Dakolo against Pastor Biodun Fatoyibo of the Commonwealth of Zion Assembly. In a statement, the police spokesperson, Mr. Frank Mba, explained that operatives of the force served official invitation letters to the couple yesterday, July the 20th, in the case also involving other personalities. He added that the invitation does not amount to a warrant of arrest and should not be considered one, but merely aimed at eliciting information voluntarily from parties to aid police investigations. He appealed for calm while giving the assurance that the police force under Mr. Mohammed Adamu will remain professional, impartial, and committed to the pursuit of justice in this case and all others before it. The Yobe state government, they've concluded plans to ensure that the 178 wards in the state get a primary health care facility. The state government is implementing the plan in conjunction with some development partners, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Speaking after a review meeting with the development partners in Abuja, the executive secretary of the State Primary Health Care Management Board explained that the Memorandum of Understanding, which is entering its second phase, has improved healthcare delivery in the state.
We have actually increased the number of routine immunization providing sites across the state. As we are speaking now, we have over 400 facilities that are providing and that are equipped and manned to provide routine immunization services. In addition to that, we also conduct mobile and outreach sessions to reach the population. So, and then in terms of cold chain logistics, you find that over 90% of all the wards have functional cold chain equipment across the state. All the wards we've also equipped them with solar direct drive refrigerators, those places that, and then of course we are still in the process of procuring more. In addition to that, our financial management processes at all levels, from the health facility to the local government to the state, has also greatly improved. So you can see this gradual and consistent improvement in routine immunization performance and coverage. So all these things are attributable to this MOU and other services and programs that are working together to improve the routine immunization as well as the primary healthcare systems across the state.
Now, the National Bureau of Statistics in its first quarter 2019 statistics revealed that between January and March of 2019, the Buhari administration spent a whopping 610.2 billion naira on debt servicing for domestic debts. Now, the amount is estimated to be more than the combined budget for education and youth development. This is for the whole of 2019. While the concerns of a recession may be over, there are new concerns about how debt could have been used as a means to end the recession. So should Nigerians be concerned about the amount used to service domestic and external debt? Well, tonight, Channels Television's data analyst Babajide Ogunsowo joins us to share insights from the research. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, Millicent.
All right. Now, while some are concerned the nation's rising debt profile is not sustainable. Others believe that Nigeria is within a safe debt threshold. What do your facts reveal? Any red flags?
It depends on how you want to measure red flags, but I'd like to start from a slightly different perspective. You know what it said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called
God.
Blessed are the young Nigerian children, because they shall inherit the national debt. So today, the federal government owes how much, both domestic and external? The evidence shows that the debt of the federal government is 19.5 trillion naira. So here are three questions that Nigerians are concerned about that we need to provide answers to. The first is, how does the country make money? The second is, how does the federal government spend its money? And the third and final question is, why is the federal government borrowing so much? Those are the three questions we should answer tonight. The first question, how does the country make money? And the evidence shows that in the first 90 days of 2019, the first 90 days of this year, the country earned 2.3 trillion naira. But over 60% of this amount that the country earned 2.3 trillion naira, but over 60% of this amount came from oil revenue. The evidence shows that petroleum profit tax and royalties earned us more money than value-added tax, corporate income tax, and customs and excise duties combined. In other words, petroleum is still the main source of funding for the country. So that is how the country earns money. So clearly this shows that if there's a shock in the oil and gas sector, then the nation will be in trouble.
So when we talk about the federal government's spending money, is Nigeria's debt servicing a burden to perhaps alternative use of funds?
Let's look at this carefully. The question is, how does the federal government spend its money? And there are three ways that the federal government spends its money. The first is debt servicing. The second is money that goes to the ministries, departments, and agencies, the MDAs. And the third and final way that the federal government spends its money is by statutory transfers. Statutory transfers, the federal government can't really do anything about it. In other words, if we spend less money on servicing debts, there will be more money available to the ministries, departments, and agencies. If we spend more money servicing debts, then there will be less money available to the ministries, departments, and agencies, because statutory transfers are fixed. That's monies that goes to the National Judicial Council, INEC, the National Assembly, the National Human Rights Commission, Universal Basic Education Commission. Those monies are fixed. Again, I repeat myself, if monies that goes to debt servicing reduces, money that is available to ministries, departments, and agencies rises. That is the fact.
So how can they reduce the deficit? How can the federal government reduce the deficit?
Listen, speaking of deficits, we need to look at why is the federal government borrowing? That is what we need to look at. Why is the federal government borrowing? And the evidence, the real evidence that answers that question is found in not just looking at the monies that we are borrowing, but looking at how much we're earning, the revenues. And the evidence shows that the reason why the federal government is not borrowing is because revenue is not rising. So for instance, in 2018, the federal government earned a revenue of 4.1 trillion naira, but expenditure in last year was 7.5 trillion naira, giving a deficit of 3.3 trillion naira. How is the deficit financed? Through borrowing. Last year, the deficit of 3.3 trillion naira was the highest in our history. So if we look carefully at that table, we'll realize that revenue in the last 5 years has been stagnant, but expenditure has been increasing. And how do you finance expenditure when your revenue is stagnant? You need to borrow more. In other words, if you want to reduce your borrowing, you need to make more money. You need to increase your revenue.
So essentially you're saying it's good and it's bad. What does your crystal ball say about the future?
Even though no one can accurately predict the future, I'd like to tell you what I see from the former philosopher and economist Adam Smith. He says, what else will make a man, or how can you add to the happiness of a man who is in good health, who is out of debt, and has a clear conscience? So clearly, it is always good to be out of debt, but in Nigeria's case, our debt is sustainable, but we find red flags. What is the solution? The government needs to explore more of income from state-owned enterprises. Again, the government needs to explore more opportunities from state-owned enterprises.
We'd like to thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Again, no one can clearly predict the future.